Hello, my name is Daniel Simpson, the Director of Admissions and Marketing from the International School of Moscow. I'm joined by Miss Stacey Scales, our Head of Early Years Foundation Stages across the whole school. We're here today to answer some of the questions that lots of parents ask us, and we've got the expert advice of Miss Scales. So let's jump into it. A lot of the questions that we receive we'll go through today, but for families who are discovering ISM for the first time, how would you describe ISM's overall approach to education?
I mean, looking specifically at the early years, I think here, for those children, it's their first experience in school. So safe, number one, fun, number two, and happy, number three. If we can have a really positive foundation of education and sort of foster this love of learning that we do already at ISM, which is fantastic, it really sets children up for primary school, for secondary school, that what they're exploring and discovering is something that they can do for sort of the next 18 years into university.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important at that young age as well. So, Miss Scales, you're head of EYFS, which is early years and foundation stages, the youngest years in school. How does early years fit into the wider journey of International School of Moscow students all the way through to secondary?
I mean, I think what we do really well is this idea of a school community. Regardless if we're a pre-nursery 2-year-old, if we're a reception 5-year-old, we all have a role to play in this very special part of the International School of Moscow. We reflect a lot on how we can contribute to the wider school community. Every Friday, we have our Year 4 house captains, for example, come and play with the little ones in sort of like a mentor role. We have playground buddies, and recently at Christmas, actually, this was a highlight for me this year. One of our reception classes actually went up and visited Year 5 and 6, dressed as elves, and took them Christmas presents. Early years is here. We're very well established, and sort of those little things we get to do in upper primary and say hello to some staff that work in secondary. It just makes it all so much more special and really emphasizes that community aspect of it.
That's fantastic. So, Ms. Scales, I know your background is the UK, early years specialist, you're an expert in your field, master's degrees from UK universities. But in terms of our other teachers at the International School of Moscow, where are they from and how does their experience sort of shape our learning?
I think the better question is, where are they not from? So we've got such a wide range of individuals. UK, we've got Australia, we've got the US, we've got staff that have been in the best schools in Dubai. We've got staff that also have master's degrees. We are big advocates for forest school training here. So we currently have 3 staff that are qualified forest school leaders. We've got staff that have, previously, prior to being in Moscow, I was in China. We, as I said previously, the UAE, everywhere. Yeah. And it just brings this wealth of knowledge and expertise, and we strive to be culturally sensitive and celebratory of all our children, all our staff, and those little snippets and insights that people bring from their past experiences does one or two things. It enriches what we do. If we want to speak about Lunar New Year, for example, we've got a range of staff that can provide insights for that. And that just enriches everything that the children get up to, having fun with, and are learning about.
That's fantastic. Just very quickly on the theme of forest school, you mentioned we have 3 staff who are trained in delivering the forest school program. Can you just very quickly summarize what is forest school?
So forest school, it's evolved a lot. Sort of, I became familiar with it about 5 years ago. Yeah. And it's just utilizing the outdoor spaces that we have. At our Rosinka campus here, we're lucky enough to have our own forest. Yeah. So it's looking at leaves and trees, but also using the outdoor environment to teach. Children will learn how to make fires. They will roast things over the fire. Okay. And it's just another element that, we offer here. And again, going back to sort of the fun and safe thing, forest school is both of those things. And it's just that little bit of difference we can bring to our curriculum, and the children absolutely love it, especially in the snow. They they love making themselves in English.
That's such a cool feature. I know that Rosinka, especially our third campus, has an incredible luxury of being, situated where it is. So let's jump into early years foundation stages in a bit more detail. One of the obvious concerns is if a child has a lower level of English, can they still apply?
Absolutely. I would say from discussing with parents over the years, this is the number one question that comes up.
Yeah.
We're an immersive environment. So our classroom teachers speak English, and most of our classroom assistants are bilingual. So there is no point during the day where if your child is struggling, if they need help to go to the toilet, if they need help to put their shoes on, someone will be there to help them.
Yeah.
There's someone to understand them, to relay it in Russian, for example, if they were going to injure themselves or if something sort of unwanted was going to happen, the support is there. But we speak in English. We can we have the luxury now where we've had staff that are with us for so long that aren't native Russian speakers, but they can understand what a child is telling them or what that child needs. So I would honestly say it's not a worry at all. The immersive approach that we do things with, it really, you'll be surprised how quickly they can start saying please, thank you, and no.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, walking around some of our campuses, especially for the early years groups in Rosinka or Krlatska, I've seen the progress between September and now in terms of handwriting and their written work. It really is amazing, the speed at which they develop. With that in mind, what kind of student would you say thrives at ISM?
I think this is sort of a two-sided question. So student-wise, just curiosity.
Yeah.
Curiosity will sort of trump anything. It doesn't matter if you can count to 1,000 or recite poetry. If children are curious, that takes them in so many different places. At the moment, a big thing and a big focus for us, particularly this year, is really looking at those children's interests. So in our reception class on our lower campus, I've never seen it done before, and I said to Miss Liao, this is some of the best planning I've ever seen. So they'd done the dinosaurs, and then it suddenly went to Ice Age, and they were learning about mammoths and insulation. And these children are 4 and 5, and then next week they'll learn about cavemen and cave art and things like that. And that's just come from the children's curiosity. They're really accessing this higher level stuff, but they're still 4 and 5, and it's done in such a fun way. You'd never think that they were learning. Yeah,
amazing. I mean, that is often sort of the core in enabling the learner to be responsible in their own learning, having that curiosity. Okay, well, in terms of settling in, when a student joins us, building that emotional security, how do we help children feel confident and secure when they first start at ISM?
I think the most important thing, and this follows us all the way through the school, this is not just focused at early years, we get to know the children. So we will, as soon as we sort of meet you, if you're coming on an admissions tour, for example, we'll introduce ourselves, you'll say hello to the class teachers, and that's the first point of contact. You might pop back in for another visit, and then we will happily wait your arrival. We might meet with the parents. What do you like? What does your child like? What does your child not like? What are they really interested in? How can we use cars, for example, or dinosaurs or whatever, to really first day of school, oh my goodness, my teacher has got dinosaurs for me to play with. My teacher really listened to me and my interests. Again, if they're a little bit younger, they might still have something that they need comfort with. It might be a bear, it might be a blanket, it even might be a photograph of mum and dad. Bring it in.
That's nice.
Something familiar. Bring it in. Absolutely zero issues at all. We're really fortunate that looking at our pastoral and well-being side is a real strength for us. And if it suits your child, if you think as a parent it's going to help your child through that process, talk to me, talk to your child's class teacher, and we'll make it work.
It's fantastic. It's that parent-teacher school communication, isn't it? But I mean, looking around this room, there's no shortage of toys, so that's a good thing. Especially working with this age of student, if we talk about early years or primary students, it obviously happens. Students come, and in that first initial week, it's not uncommon for them to be upset.
Yes.
What happens when a child's upset?
So it's one of these things where, you know, we see it a lot. We're all
Yeah.
seasoned teachers. It happens. It's one of those things where we take it on a case by case basis, because this is the most important thing for
Sure.
us. You know, there might be a child that is absolutely distraught, first time away from his mum. Okay, how do we go about this? Previously, we've had children that come and try for an hour without mum.
Okay.
And then 2 hours without mum. And then they might stay until lunchtime or playtime.
Yeah.
Completely responsive to how the child is getting on. In terms of communication, we can, when it's obviously convenient for us, we'll send a few photos home.
Yeah.
We always have the school phone line in the instance that, you know, we want school to be a positive experience. If that child is so upset and so much missing mum, dad, grandma, we'll give you a call and say, look, we want this to be a really good thing. We want your child to really enjoy coming to school. Can you come and pick him up? We would never, you know, just get through the day.
Sure.
It's not good practice. It's not taking into account what the child needs. You know, here we have the added thing of, we've got a lot of children that don't actually speak English. Going back to sort of our previous question.
Yeah.
If I was to go to somewhere and as an adult and be put in a room with someone that is telling me things that doesn't quite sound right, I'd probably feel a little bit out of sorts as well.
Of course.
So again, it's on that partnership between family, our relationship building with the child, and it's this real collaborative effort.
Yeah. I'm going to address the sort of the question that often comes up, and I know that it's a contentious one between families and schools, but when a child is struggling to adapt and it's their first week settling in, and the parents want to sort of be present, wait by the door, for example, what is the sort of the ISM approach to this?
So we get it, we understand. I can't tell you how many new children I've sort of welcomed into ISM.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. I sort of make it very clear the utmost professionalism at ISM. Our early years staff know exactly what they need to do for that child. And, you know, we understand it's not just the anxiety from the child. Parents might also have anxiety as well.
Absolutely.
We completely acknowledge that. So waiting by the door, I understand it. I get it. There will be a point where that child does calm and makes that bond with the teacher.
Yeah.
And if they see half of mum's face or dad's face, it kind of puts them back. Oh, they've come to get me.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's been 5 minutes when it should have been a little bit longer. So what we usually do, how do you want to be updated? What works for you? What will support you? We don't want you to worry. This is, you know, it's a transition. It's a transition for the parents and it's a transition for the child as well. So the most important thing that we do from the outset is, this is what we find, and this tends to be something that is more a hindrance than a help.
Yeah.
However, this is what we can do, and again, case by case basis.
Yeah, absolutely. It often can be a hindrance.
Yeah.
Like you say, that child does need to sort of stand on their own 2 feet, make the bond with their peers and the teacher. Absolutely. Let's move out of the sort of classroom and think of some of the more logistical questions that parents often have when starting, especially for those primary and the early years. You know, they're very young. Do parents need to give them breakfast before coming to school?
So we actually offer breakfast.
Okay.
In the early years. So it's usually a warm breakfast. Pancake day is Friday, which is a favourite, pancakes and jam. So it's usually a small piece of bread, some cheese, some butter, and a coconut porridge or an oat porridge or something like that to set them up for the day. The children love it. Again, especially pancake day. Yeah, there's absolutely no need to worry about that. And then later in the day, they have a snack, then they have lunch, and then they have a snack again. So they're well fed.
Fantastic. Well, today, the day that we're filming is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. I will definitely come back for Pancake Day. Wonderful. Another sort of practical question: toilet time. Again, when we're looking at EYFS, that age group, how does that work here?
Okay. So we have, again, it goes all the way back to the start of the admissions process. We ask the questions from, how are they going to the toilet? Are they independent? Do they need help?
Yeah.
Are they still in pull-ups? We would always advocate for the child to be in the process of being toilet trained when they join with us. It just means that they're not having too much fun and they forget or things like that. We are here, and we understand that accidents do happen.
Of course.
We're still dealing with 2-3-year-olds. It happens. So we're prepared for it. We have intimate care records. We have everything that we need to help those children in the instance of a toileting accident. But the preference for us is that they are in the process of becoming independent in managing toileting when they begin with us.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Okay, we're a 2 through to 18-year-old school, so let's focus on the learning itself. How would you approach ISM's, so how would you describe ISM's approach to sort of education as a whole in a few words?
Yeah. So I just think that we're there to create opportunities.
Yeah.
And we have the vast experience of our staff. We're in fantastic locations. Rosinka, for example, we've got the forest and we've got the playgrounds, and we're in this fantastic local community. Kralatskaya, we've got the big green space. We've got access to the hills. And we're really following the children's interests. The children are telling us what they want to learn. And the results from that have been phenomenal. It goes back to the reception class I mentioned earlier. Who would think 4-year-olds are learning about insulation? It's wild. And we've got children doing directed drawing and all these things that just make this experience so rich and so powerful. And I think it was sort of the first question I answered is, we're setting them up. We're setting them up with these opportunities to think, wow, school is so cool. And it just follows through, and it goes through to primary and goes through to secondary. And, they see these teachers again. So my first class, when I got to ISM, I think they're in year 5 or 6 now.
Yeah.
So I see, I personally see the growth, and thinking of these children before that didn't know how to hold a pencil, or would put their shoes on the wrong way around, and they're these boys and girls that are just like, wow, we were part of this journey.
It's fantastic having that through to sixth form education as well. Yeah, there are students who've been with us for their entire educational career. That is we're very fortunate in that sense. Okay, what kind of key skills would you say children develop during their time in EYFS?
So with sort of our approach to early years, a lot of it is, we think of it like 2 spheres. So we've got these core skills where you're looking at your phonics and your maths. They are, they're important. They support the children when they transition to national curriculum in year 1. But we also have this other sphere of art and music and movement, and learning about communities and differences and culture. So we have those 2 spheres, but then the way we teach and we learn, those spheres act as one big sphere. So everything's interconnected. So your phonics 1 week might be looking at, actually, I know this for a fact. So next week is Chinese New Year when we're filming this.
Of course, yes.
So the Lunar New Year is being celebrated in Asia. So we are exploring Chinese numbers in maths.
Amazing.
So we're getting the interdisciplinary link. So it's planned and purposeful, and it's all the time, and it's really enriching.
I love how topical that is. You've mentioned some of the student interest that they've brought, and that's been fed back into the learning that they've done, such as the insulation topic. Can you give an example of how play leads to real sort of learning outcomes for this age?
So sort of play is learning. I think that's the most important thing that we need to recognise as educators and people that work with children. Play is learning, and it's heavily backed by research, particularly Harvard School for the Centre of the Developing Child. And it's one of those things where you might see a child playing with a ball, or you might see a child building a tower. But by building that tower, they're spotting colour, they're spotting shape, they're counting blocks. By playing with the ball, they're developing movement skills that actually help them hold a pencil. So by looking at play, and you see children driving cars all along the carpet. What we do, we add paint to those cars, and we move the cars from the carpet to the table. Early mark making, getting used to using their hands to create things. And it just all comes back to it's play, but it's purposeful. And that is a big part of that ethos here.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. It's fantastic to see as well. So those kind of similar foundations built through play that foster learning, what kind of the foundations impact success later on in primary, but also in secondary school?
So I think a big part of that for us is we have a really strong focus on what we call the success skills.
Yeah.
So it's 10 skills that the children are reminded to use and taught about in primary, and I believe it's 12 in secondary.
It is, yeah, you're right.
So we have these fantastic words like courage and creativity and communication and care, you know, and sort of these are a bonus. These are, we've got a really rich curriculum, but then we're using this metacognitive language to talk about learning and how we were sort of communicating. What did you use to communicate? What would you do again next time? I really liked how caring you were with your new friend that had joined us. So we've got it. We've got the curriculum. We've got these fantastic staff, and then we've got our success skills, which is really like the cherry on top.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've seen this happen even with students at such a young age, that terminology is being used and shared with them so commonly that they themselves are recognizing fairly abstract concepts, resilience, courage, and they're able to sort of understand their own behaviors and see these skills coming through. It is wonderful. Let's shift a little bit and think of from a parent perspective. In terms of communication and partnering with those parents, like you said, is so important. How closely do teachers work with parents at ISM?
Very is the short answer. We are a partnership, and we want to know, my child went to this place at the weekend and he started counting the floors in the lift, or she was so excited and she went to the beach and she wrote her name on the sand. That's something that parents should celebrate. It's something that we should celebrate. They're taking their learning home and they're applying it at home, and that goes again, it's not just the successes and those celebrations. If they've had a bad night's sleep, or if grandma was visiting and grandma's gone home now and they're feeling a little bit sad, we can make space for them and we can talk about it and acknowledge that they might not be having the best start to the day, and this is why. Again, sort of looking at the biggest question I usually get between homeschool partnerships is, what can I be doing at home? And they are the most fantastic conversations to have. So I think it's definitely something that we excel at, and I think it's something that our parents appreciate as well.
It's that holistic community. I'll take the opportunity to quote our head of lower campus at Królewska, Mr. Nowak. It takes a village to raise a child. He says it a lot, but you've really just sort of demonstrated that. For families who already have a child in primary or secondary, how does EYFS connect them into the wider school community?
So we've had a lot of families come through, and it's really nice to know that we've sort of got children in secondary and primary, and little brother or sister might be in early years. They come down. We have stay and plays quite often. So big brother will come to our stay and play and hang out and play with little brother or little sister for a while. We have primary events that we're part of. So in March we'll be holding our skate days. if they're brother and sisters in EYFS, of course they can go. Our colour runs in the summer, yes, they're done by year groups.
Yeah.
But if we've got a sibling that wants to join in, let's go for it. The siblings that are in older years are just much as an important part of our early years community as anybody else is. We definitely like talking to the early years children about their brothers and sisters, and often it's quite a quick way to get them to open up. And they're super proud to have big brothers and sisters and family in the school.
Yeah, it goes back to, again, building that village around the student and the school acting as the centre of that community. Fantastic. It's a tricky question for Miss Scales, but what do parents often say that they didn't expect from ISM?
My child won't stop talking.
Is that a good thing or a negative thing?
It's a very good thing from our point of view, but we'll often have parents, usually at the gate on drop off, or when they're getting collected from school, or even if I'm just passing them on either campus, they'll say, Miss Scales, they're just talking all the time. I'm like, yeah, I've heard them. Yeah. I know. We had a conversation about walruses and things like this, and I think that's a testament to our sort of rapid language development. The first question, admissionsy question that you asked was, do they need English? And we get more than likely those same parents that ask that question are the same parents that are like, Miss Scales, my child won't stop talking. So yeah, that's my favourite one is, what have you done? They're speaking so much English.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see that rapid growth.
Yeah.
Sort of a closing question, closing comment for parents considering applying to ISM for next academic year or later in this academic year. What advice would you give? What would you say to them?
I think just be mindful that we're here for you as much as we're here for your child. Any question that you want to ask, anything that you want to know, we have a really open dialogue. I can always make myself available. Our class teachers are so friendly and accommodating. If you happen to be on a tour and a question pops into your head, pop in, they'll be able to answer it. Just take a look at our spaces, and I really think that you'll feel what I've been saying. I think you'll feel the excitement, and you'll see how much the children have an impact on their own learning, and how they're just supported by our absolutely outstanding team. Yeah, no, thank you, Miss Scales. That's a lovely closing comment. I'd sort of echo that by saying the best and the only way to get an understanding of ISM is to come and visit. We've got an incredibly warm, welcoming team of admissions who would love to invite families in. We do take enrolments throughout the year, and we are now enrolling for August starts. So off the back of this, we welcome any parent to come and visit our school. Miss Scales, thank you so much for your time this morning. I hope you enjoy Pancake Day tomorrow. And that's all from us at ISM.